Hey, what's up, y'all? This is William, the Permaculture Consultant, and this is Permaculture Q&A number 3. Now, if you have any permaculture-related questions that you would like answered, just leave them down below with the hashtag Permaculture Q&A at the beginning of your comment, and that way I don't miss it or anything like that, and chances are it'll probably end up in a video. All right, let's get into it. So the first question is going to come from Happy Trails Homestead. I bought 8 fruit trees, 2 apples, 2 peaches, 2 plums, 2 pears. What pattern should I follow when planting them? Now, I would follow generally the NAP pattern, which stands for nitrogen, apple, pear. Nitrogen is a nitrogen fixer. It's a leguminous species of tree, typically, and it's going to help passively fertilize your surrounding trees. So you usually want that in between 2 fruit producing trees to maximize the benefits of the nitrogen fixer. If it can fix nitrogen for one tree, it can fix it for another tree just as easily. So follow that pattern. And with your trees, you bought 2 apples, 2 peaches, 2 plums, 2 pears. I would do apple, peach, nitrogen, plum, pear, nitrogen, apple, peach, nitrogen, plum, pear, nitrogen, and that would give you a nice little pattern right there. Depending on where you live, some nitrogen fixers you might be able to use are black locust, mimosa, mesquite, depending if it might be arid where you live. I'm not sure. Probably not too arid given what you bought. Red buds are another one. Those are a nice, pretty nitrogen fixing tree. But yeah, think of those varieties and try to think of a pattern like that. Here is an example of planting nitrogen fixers amongst your fruit trees. Now, it's a little heavy on the nitrogen fixing side right now. As soon as we start getting our spring rains, then I will be cutting down some of these nitrogen fixers. You want to chop and drop whenever your precipitation is higher than your when your precipitation is higher than your evaporation. But right here you can see is mimosa, right here you can see an apple tree, and then we have another black locust, which is part of the end part. The mimosas are acting as a closer guild species to the actual fruit producing tree, but the black locust is the nitrogen fixing tree in this aspect. And then we have a peach right here. So over time, this black locust will get bigger, the roots will touch the peach tree and the apple tree on either side and passively fertilize them, especially whenever I coppice or prune this back. The next question I have is from Joseph Ark 5106. How do you convert an old cornfield, conventional agriculture, into great pasture? Well, I don't have an example of a cornfield nearby, but I do have an example of a cow pasture that's overgrazed, and it's the same principles basically. These guys right over here. So I would say there are 2 different options. You can either build the soil up, or you can decompact the soil and build it up and down at the same time. If you're gonna build the soil up, then just keep adding carbon and having your animals graze over the top of it, and just keep doing that over and over again. You will eventually fix the soil and lock up and make inert any toxins that might be in the field. The act of composting actually locks up toxins. The other method is finding out what the deepest compaction layer is. Now with these cows, the compaction layer is going to be pretty shallow in the soil. With your cornfield, you need to find out what's the deepest they've ever plowed out there, and then you're going to need to decompact below that layer. A way to decompact that layer is by using a yeoman's plow or subsoiling tiller. Sorry for the wind right now. You decompact below that layer, and then you can start adding compost teas and extracts if you need to. But you could also just start grazing correctly over the top of it. The act of composting below or above the whole soil layer will eventually soak down into the ground whenever it rains and start creating benefits down below. And if nothing else, you're getting water down into the soil instead of hitting that impervious layer and then just creating runoff and mudslides and stuff like that. So hopefully that's helpful. That's a quick and easy answer for you. But yeah, grazing correctly regardless is going to do a lot to benefit areas like that. This next one is from Stronger Everyday. I just bought apple, peach, and plum trees. What should I plant around them? I just bought bulbs as well. I don't want to screw this up. Well, right here is this is a peach tree. And right here, you can see the daffodils actually popping up from right up against the base of this peach tree. And this is to help keep away any deer or rabbits or anything like that. They don't like to graze anything around these daffodils. But it's kind of a difficult answer to give you. And this is where the classic permaculture answer, it depends. Try to think of the 7 layers of a food forest, or of a forest. There's the complete overstory, which would be your tree. And then underneath that overstory, there's a bunch of different aspects that you can fill in, like the ground cover. You could put in strawberries right up against the base of this tree and use it as a ground cover. Or even further out, you could put a blueberry or some sort of shrub that's still protected by the canopy or future canopy of your trees. I know you got them young, so they don't have really much of a canopy yet, but try to think in the future terms as well. If you look up, well, here, I'll show you a chart of these 7 layers of a food forest. This is a good visual representation of what I'm talking about and how you can apply them around your trees. Rarely do they come out as perfect as that picture, but it's a good, like I said, good visual representation. I would also use this example of the daffodils for Amanda Smith's question: can I grow chives as a deterrent to pests? How close to the base of the tree? Yes, you can grow chives as a deterrent to pests, and you can grow them right up against the base of the tree if you want. The key to planting up against the base of your tree is making sure that the types of roots that they aren't going to be super invasive to the tree. Like, it's not going to be a hairnet type response like bamboo, for example, a hairnet type response that completely chokes out this tree. And also make sure that if it's a, like if you're planting right up against the base of the tree, it's not something that you have to dig up with a shovel. You want to not like harm the roots of the tree while you're harvesting something that you planted. So just keep those 2 things in mind and you're typically gonna be okay. And now the funniest question is from Sinez MB. Howdy, William. I just started a Syntropic food forest and my neighbors keep spraying the blue crap on their lawns. Should I be worried? Should I take this as a declaration of war? Should I sow their lawns with invasive species? Or should I just focus on feeding my soil and providing my neighborhood's microbes a home? Now, as much as I would like to tell you to go ahead and sow the invasive species in the neighborhood's lawns, that would probably get the incorrect or the opposite response you might want. They might just start spraying more and start probably trying to find new chemicals and harsher stuff to use, especially with the resilient pioneer species you could plant out there. So instead, what I recommend doing is making your yard a demonstration site. Now, this isn't the best looking demonstration site just yet, but if you make yours very aesthetically pleasing and very productive, and they see you out there working hard and stuff like that, then your neighbors might be interested in letting you do the same to their property. And like, you don't need to own the property, you just need to control the property. If you control the property, then that's, you know, that's even better, because that's no taxes you have to pay on that property. You just reap the benefits for the most part. And that's yeah, that's some tax-free pimping right there for you, Sinez. That's what I would recommend doing. As far as like just make sure you wash off your produce for the most part. Again, I'll mention using chlorine dioxide. You can get that from safrax.com. And that will probably get this video censored as well. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, if you guys need any questions for yourselves answered, just link them down below in the comments with the hashtag permaculture Q&A at the beginning so I can see it. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.